Let's be honest, the words root canal probably don't fill you with joy, right? But have you ever wondered what's actually going on in there? Well, today we're going to take a trip, a journey deep inside the tooth to explore this incredible microscopic world called endodontics. So let's dive in. This quote here from I.B. Bender, it just hits the nail on the head. The pulp is a small tissue with a big issue. That is exactly what we're talking about. See, inside every single one of your teeth, there's this tiny bit of living tissue, the pulp. But if it gets into trouble, oh, it can be a huge deal. This really sets the scene for the complex world we're about to jump into. Okay, so before we go any deeper, we've got to start with the basics, right? We need to know what we're even talking about. Our journey really starts by understanding this special field that's all about this world inside the tooth. And that field is called endodontics. And the cool thing is, if you break the word down, it tells you everything you need to know. Endo, that's Greek for inside. Odont, that's Greek for tooth. Put them together, and what do you get? Endodontics. Literally, the study of what's inside the tooth. It's the branch of dentistry that's all about keeping that pulp and the tissues right at the very tip of the root healthy. All right, so we've got our definition down. We know what endodontics is. Now, let's start the real expedition. We're zooming in, moving past the big picture, and right into the living core of the tooth, the pulp. Now, it's super important to understand that the pulp isn't just floating around in there by itself. Nope. It's part of something called the dentin-pulp complex. Think of them as a team. They're completely connected. The hard dentin layer and the soft pulp tissue, they actually grew together, and they work together as one single unit. You really can't separate them. So this space where the pulp lives, the pulp cavity, is kind of split into two main sections. First up, you've got the pulp chamber. That's the part that's actually in the crown of the tooth, the bit you see when you smile. Then from there, it travels down into the root, and that is the root canal. It's the passageway that goes all the way down. Okay, let's zoom in a little closer on that pulp chamber. You can almost think of it like the tooth's main control room. See those little pointy bits reaching up towards the top of the tooth? We call those pulp horns. And the floor of this room is usually a little darker than the walls, which is actually a super helpful landmark for dentists. It points them right to the canal orifices. These are basically the little funnel-shaped doorways that lead down into the root canals. And through those doorways, we go. This is the next stage of our journey. We're leaving the wide open space of the chamber and heading down the rabbit hole, so to speak. We're now entering the narrow, twisting passageways inside the root. Now, I bet when you think of a root canal, you're picturing a simple, straight little tube, right? Well, you can just erase that image from your mind. A perfectly straight canal is, well, it's almost a myth. It's incredibly rare. The reality is that most of them have curves. Some are gentle, some are surprisingly sharp. And what's really amazing is that the internal math of every single tooth is totally unique. It's like a fingerprint. Okay, we've traveled all the way down the canal, and now we've reached our final stop, the very, very tip of the root. This spot is called the apex. And let me tell you, this is the most critical, most complex part of the whole system when it comes to treatment and healing. Everything we've talked about so far, it all leads to this one tiny point. The geography down here is just wild. It's incredibly complex. You've got the apical foramen. That's the main entrance for all the nerves and blood vessels. Right before you get there, the canal pinches in to its narrowest spot, the apical constriction. Then there's the CDJ, the cemento-dentinal junction, a microscopic meeting point between the inside and outside of the root. And if that wasn't enough, you often have these tiny little side tunnels called accessory canals branching off. Imagine trying to navigate all of that. It's a microscopic maze. So, out of all those little landmarks we just pointed out, there's one that is absolutely crucial, and that's the apical constriction. Because it's the narrowest part of the entire canal, it is the ideal place to stop. It's the bullseye. That's the exact target an endodontist is aiming for when they clean and fill the canal. Why? Because stopping right there gives your body the absolute best chance to heal itself. So, wow, we've just taken a tour through this unbelievably complex world hidden inside a tooth. But it kind of makes you ask, why? Why does all this microscopic detail even matter? Well, this is where it all comes together. This is where we connect our little anatomy lesson to the real mission of all this, saving your natural tooth. And this is the whole point, right here. The goal of a root canal isn't just to get the bad stuff out. Not at all.
The real goal is to carefully and precisely clean and seal that entire internal system to create the perfect environment so that your own body can do what it does best: heal. It's all about helping the body heal itself.
I mean, this quote really says it all, doesn't it? When you boil it all down, endodontics is about one thing: saving teeth that would otherwise have to be extracted. And that's because, for all our amazing technology, there is just no perfect substitute for your own natural tooth. So why is that? Why is it so important to save that tooth? Well, for one, your natural tooth is just more efficient. It's better at chewing and biting. But here's the really fascinating part that a lot of people don't realize. Even after the pulp is removed during a root canal, the tooth isn't dead, not by a long shot. It's still a living part of you, getting everything it needs from the gums and jaw tissue around it. It's a vital piece of the puzzle. So this whole journey has shown us a completely hidden universe, an incredibly detailed world that exists in plain sight, right inside our own mouths. And it really makes you think, doesn't it? What other complex, amazing worlds are out there just beneath the surface that we walk around with every single day?